Live from WTOC, the Southeast News leader. The News Now starts on WTOC Plus.
Well, we'd like to thank you all for joining us this afternoon for the news on WTOC Plus. We begin with continuing coverage in Chatham County, where the high-profile Oglethorpe Mall shooting case in Savannah returned to court today, marking another step forward in proceedings that began really what could shape the next steps for the six people charged. Now, we left off with the total number of defendants who have entered not guilty pleas to 6 back in December. Today, they are back in Chatham County Superior Court in front of Judge John Morse for a pretrial hearing. All 6 defendants are facing multiple charges, including felony murder. Court records indicate the state may call a gang expert during trial, and defense attorneys are now requesting advance notice if prosecutors plan to introduce gang-related evidence during the trial. WTOC's Madeline Bierster is in the courtroom right now, and she'll have the latest this afternoon. Well, staying on the crime watch, a Bullitt County grand jury returned an indictment on all charges listed against Kenneth Moreno Guzman in connection with a violent home invasion and sexual assault investigation. This is all according to the Ogeechee Judicial Circuit's DA's office. The indictment includes charges of rape, aggravated child molestation, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, as well as a number of other charges. All charges are felony offenses under Georgia law. Now, WTOC previously reported how the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office received a call on the morning of January 12th. Investigators say Guzman broke into a family's home through their back door and raped an 11-year-old girl. The Sheriff's Office said he also held both the victim and her 10-year-old sister at knife point. Guzman faces a total of 20 charges. We will continue to bring you updates on this case as we learn more. We have new details out of Beaufort County, where leaders are considering a proposed gun ordinance amid rising concerns from residents. The discussion centers on public safety, ongoing noise issues, and possible effects on property value as officials work to address the risk of stray gunfire in nearby neighborhoods. The issue gained attention last October after concerns surfaced from neighbors along New Riverside Road and Hartwell Road about gunfire happening close to residential properties. Their proposal would make it illegal to fire a gun within 500 feet of a building, home, park, or playground in unincorporated areas. Now, county leaders are being urged to consider protections aimed at improving safety for communities beyond city limits.
It's allowed for him to do that. Every single Sunday, I got to wonder if that's the Sunday he decides to go out there and shoot and my family's at risk and they get hit one day.
Now, we have people who are leaving the development, have their homes up for sale. One woman already sold it. Another woman is scared to death.
Some community members and law enforcement leaders believe the proposal needs to be stronger. They're pushing for a wider safety buffer, recommending the ordinance prohibit gunfire within 1,000 to 1,500 feet of a residence. Well, we do have an alert for you as the Alma-Bacon County Fire Department announced a burn ban notice for all of Bacon County until further notice. Fire officials say the county is in an extreme drought status. While the burn ban is in place, all outdoor burning is prohibited, including the burning of trash, debris, yard waste, and open campfires. Violators of the ban will be subject to fines. That's all according to the Alma-Bacon County Fire Department. Well, Democratic lawmakers in Georgia are speaking out against the unprecedented FBI raid at the Fulton County Elections Hub that took place 1 week ago today. House Democrats say what happened with the FBI at the Fulton County Elections Hub sets a dangerous precedent for future elections, not only in Georgia, but across the country. Lawmakers gathered on the state capitol steps to, quote, sound the alarm, calling the FBI raid an attack on fair and secure elections. Last week, FBI agents hauled away around 700 boxes of documents related to the 2020 Georgia elections, including ballots and voter rolls. Representative Deborah Brazemore, who's the vice chair of the Fulton County delegation, says they're working to make sure the 2020 election documents the FBI took are secure. A few floors up, Fulton County Chairman Rob Pitts held a press conference of his own, maintaining that the 2020 elections have been audited and reviewed and have come back with, quote, a clean bill of health.
There has been a motion that has already been filed from our Fulton County government to make sure that we get our ballots back intact and not changed.
What they're doing with the ballots that they have now, we don't know. But if they're counted fairly and honestly, the results will be the same.
Now, this raid centers around President Donald Trump's claims that the 2020 presidential election was stolen from him. President Trump now threatening to reform how elections are carried out in certain states. The administration has also requested states to turn over voter rolls to the Justice Department.
Take a look at Detroit. Take a look at Pennsylvania. Take a look at Philadelphia. You go take a look at Atlanta. Look at some of the places that horrible corruption on elections. And the federal government should not allow that.
Well, staying in state news, your teen's cell phone could soon be off limits at school. Georgia lawmakers are pushing a bill that would ban cell phones in high schools, a change that could redefine the modern classroom. This all follows last year's legislation that banned phones for students in kindergarten through 8th grade, a policy set to take effect this summer. Now, House Bill 1009 is advancing after clearing a subcommittee, paving the way for expanded cell phone restrictions in Georgia high schools starting in the 2027-2028 school year. Sponsored by Representative Scott Hilton, the bill calls for a bell-to-bell ban, keeping phones off limits from the first bell to dismissal, with exemptions for students in dual enrollment and approved work-based learning programs.
The issue is we want teachers to teach and students to learn, and our teachers not to be a cell phone police. If we have a policy that says instruction time, you're having to deal with the in and out, the constant in and out of the cell phone, or if it's black and white, very simple, beginning of the day, end of the day, kids get that. Teachers get that.
The bill is still under review, and lawmakers say changes are possible before a final version is approved. Well, Georgia's top court is weighing if there could be a cap on how much you could be paid if a loved one dies during a medical malpractice case. The limit before the state is $350,000. Families argue the value of a human life should not be capped. Senior reporter Patrick Quinn with our sister station reports.
His life is valued. We miss him still every day. This is my daughter, and it never should have happened.
Glenda Yarbrough's husband, Ron, died in 2019. A routine colon surgery gone wrong. Glenda said doctors had misreported that Ron was in good heart health. He was not. In July, a jury awarded their family $18 million as part of a medical malpractice lawsuit, but that verdict is now in question.
Now to find out there's a possibility, even though the jury awards a certain amount, that it can be capped at $350,000.
The Georgia Supreme Court just heard two cases that challenged the power of a jury trial, what could open the doors for the institution of a $350,000 cap on wrongful death lawsuits, originally brought forward by the state legislature to put guardrails on jury verdicts, supported by insurance companies and doctors.
The jury has decided an amount of damages, and then after trial, the judge says, nope. I don't understand how that doesn't infringe the jury's traditional role.
Capping the value of a life is not only wrong, but it makes Georgia less safe.
Well, how is that fair? Which one of you have a child that's worth $350,000? This needs to be fixed now.
Shannon McGuffey's daughter, Halo Sky, died when Shannon was 20 weeks pregnant. She said due to medical malpractice. She and other families outside the state Supreme Court said caps like this prevent doctors and insurance companies from being held accountable for medical mistakes.
My daughter cannot be replaced. You cannot put a cap on human life or human potential. Halo matters. Her life matters.
Well, a new face has joined Georgia's gubernatorial race set for this November. Rick Jackson is the billionaire founder of the major Georgia healthcare company, Jackson Healthcare. His budget includes $40 million in advertising. Jackson joins a crowded field of 13 candidates for governor so far. He's running as a Republican. So far, there are 7 Democrats and 6 Republicans vying for the job. Current Governor Brian Kemp is at the end of his term limit. Election day is November 3rd. In national news, it's now more than 3 days since Savannah Guthrie's mom has been missing from her home in Tucson, Arizona. Police say they're looking into the authenticity of an apparent ransom note for Nancy Guthrie, originally sent to a local news station. They're also revealing evidence at the scene, including blood, pointing to a possible abduction. Jonathan Viglotti has more from Tucson.
Fingerprints, DNA, camera images, everything you can imagine.
Investigators say they're using every tool to find Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today Show co-host Savannah Guthrie. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos says the FBI is now analyzing an apparent ransom note.
Is there anything in that note that seems credible at this moment that you're giving weight to?
The entire note.
So you're not dismissing this note at this point?
Absolutely not.
He says he shared the note with the Guthrie family the same night he received it.
Of the thousands of tips that you get, you don't show everything
Well, no,
to them.
because some of them just don't have any.
This rose to the level.
Sure it does. It's more threatening. You guys asked, was there any threats? This was pretty threatening.
According to Nanos, the note contained details about what the 84-year-old was wearing the night of the crime, but would not confirm its authenticity. It was initially sent to a local news station, who forwarded it to authorities and agreed not to report on it. But yesterday, TMZ was also sent a copy.
TMZ comes out with this note that you have known about, that the Guthries have now seen, and it sounds like it could compromise this case to some degree.
It could. I hope not.
The sheriff also says surveillance video from Guthrie's home has led them nowhere so far.
None of the camera images have revealed to us anything of substantive nature. Nothing.
Really? Anything?
No, it only goes so far back. And so we're giving it to those camera makers and saying, can you do something more with this?
Tuesday, our cameras captured what appears to be a small amount of blood outside the front door of Guthrie's home. A law enforcement source tells CBS News that a little bit of blood was found inside the home. It's unclear whose blood, but authorities say it's being examined, along with other clues.
The Guthries are very distraught, very concerned. What's important is we find Mom and we bring her back home safe.
And the sheriff tells me Savannah Guthrie and her family have not received any specific threats. He is worried about the health of Nancy Guthrie, who requires daily medication, and as we've been reporting, all of it was left behind when she was abducted. Jonathan Vigliotti, CBS News, Tucson, Arizona.
Back here in the Peach State, attorneys for an HBCU basketball coach says they want answers after he was handcuffed at a rivalry game in Atlanta. Jasmine Alston with our sister station tells us what unfolded and the legal actions now being taken.
He did nothing wrong to necessitate him being detained.
Gerald Griggs is one of the attorneys on the case of Tuskegee University basketball coach Benji Taylor, who was handcuffed on the court of a recent game at Morehouse College. This was all caught on video at the end of the game during the handshake line when Taylor's attorneys say some Morehouse College football players tried to get into the line and Coach Taylor asked a nearby officer to have them removed, as is required by conference security rules. In a statement to the Field of 68, the coach himself said they were yelling obscenities and it was dangerous. But in response, Taylor was handcuffed and removed from the court.
Coach Taylor is a decorated coach. He's in the middle of a winning season. They shouldn't have to go through any of this, especially at an institution like Morehouse.
Griggs says he is distraught and still shaken up by what happened, and while Taylor was never charged, they want to know why this happened.
He's definitely distraught, shaken up by what happened. What we want to see happen is his name cleared. We want to get a thorough analysis and answer why he was subjected to that sort of interaction with law enforcement at a college basketball game where he was merely coaching and protecting the safety and security of his students.
The conference did fine Morehouse College for not meeting required security standards.
It's clearly showing that the coach is on the right side of this.
And finally, here on WTOC Plus, if you're in need of plans this Sunday, state historic sites and museums are offering free admission on Sunday, all to spotlight Georgia's art, culture, and history. Over 100 museums and historic sites across the state will be open to the public for free. Super Museum Sunday is organized as part of the Georgia History Festival. There are many historic sites, museums, art museums, historic museums participating in the area. Some of those include the Georgia Historical Society, the National Museum of the Mighty Eighth, which you saw some footage of just a moment ago, Oatland Island Wildlife Center, a personal favorite of mine, the SCAD Museum of Art, the Midway Museum, a whole lot others. We have a full list on the free sites and museums for Sunday. That's linked in our web story right now on WTOC.com. Nice little way to potentially pregame for the Super Bowl happening Sunday night, of course, as well. All right, with that, we're going to wrap things up here for the news on WTOC Plus. We will be back at the top of the hour at 2 o'clock. We're going to have extended coverage of an FBI press conference out of Glynn County regarding an operation that they're announcing. We don't have a whole lot of details about it, but we will be carrying that in about 40 minutes at the top of the hour at 2 o'clock. In the meantime, you can always head on over to our website for the latest updates at WTOC.com. Thanks for watching, and for the next 40 minutes, here's Local News Live.